Continuing our discussion on the mass analyzers, the Fourier transform mass spectrometry, that is FTMS, is based on the principle of a charged particle orbiting in the presence of a magnetic field. So here the charged particle orbit in the presence of a magnetic field. So in the process of orbiting, that is while the ions are orbiting, a radio frequency signal is used to excite them, and as a result of this radio frequency excitation, the ions produce a detectable image current. So the charged particles orbit in the presence of a magnetic field, and while orbiting, a radio frequency signal is used to excite them so that the ions produce a detectable image current. The time dependent image current can then be Fourier transformed to obtain the component frequencies of different ions which correspond to their mass by charge ratio. The FTMS has become an important tool, especially an important research tool, which offer high accuracy with errors as low as approximately 0.001%. Right? So if you just compare the MALDI analyzers, what we have discussed so far, the TOF reflectron and the FTMS, 6 parameters are taken into consideration for the comparison of the 3 MALDI mass analyzers. If you just carefully go through the table, with respect to accuracy, you can find that the TOF offers an accuracy of about 0.05 to 0.2%. The TOF reflectron offers about 0.03%, whereas the FTMS offer high accuracy, that is 0.005%, but as I said, it can go up to 0.001%. And if you look at the resolution, the FTMS resolution is about 1 lakh, and the mass by charge range in TOF it is more than 3 lakh, whereas in TOF reflectron it is about 10,000, and in FTMS also it is about 10,000. TOF works with one mass analyzer, whereas TOF reflectron has the double MS, 2 mass analyzers. FTMS has 4 mass analyzers. And if you just look at the scan speed, TOF scan speed is in milliseconds. TOF reflectron scan speed is in milliseconds, whereas FTMS scan speed is in seconds. So there is a big difference. TOF offers highest mass range and the scan speed is very fast. TOF reflectron scan speed is also very fast. It offers good resolving power but lower sensitivity when compared to the linear TOF. Whereas FTMS, it is capable of high resolution and exact mass measurements. It is well suited for tandem MS, that is more than one mass analyzers. But the instrumentation is expensive, definitely. It should be expensive. Requires high vacuum and it requires superconducting magnet because the charged particles, they orbit in the presence of a magnetic field in FTMS. So the utility of MALDI for protein and peptide analysis lies in its ability to provide highly accurate molecular weight information on the intact molecules. So the utility of MALDI, especially for protein and peptide, when you find the utility is dependent on how good we are able to get accurate molecular weight information on intact molecules. Because the ability to generate such accurate information is extremely useful for protein identification and characterization. Right. We know that MALDI MS is a powerful tool for the accurate mass determination of peptide mixtures. And in order to obtain the accurate mass measurements in the MALDI mass spectrometer, the accurate mass measurement is dependent upon the sample, number one, and number two, the sample preparation. No doubt, MALDI mass spectrometer is a powerful tool for accurate mass determination of the peptide mixtures. In order to obtain the accurate mass measurement, it is dependent on the sample and the sample preparation. So acquiring optimum MALDI data depends on the choice of suitable matrices and solvents. Number two, the functional and structural properties of the analyte. Number three, sample purity. Number four, and how the sample is prepared on the MALDI sample plate. Right? So, in broader sense, the accurate mass measurement in MALDI mass spectrometer is dependent upon number one, the sample, and number two, the sample preparation. If you still further and try to understand the factors that are responsible for acquiring optimum MALDI data, then these factors are the choice of suitable matrices and the solvents that are used, the functional and structural properties of the analyte, the sample purity, and how the sample is prepared on the MALDI sample plate. So these factors are very critical, or these factors, they translate how accurate the mass can be measured in MALDI mass spectrometer. Because the solvent or the matrix, that is the medium by which the analyte will be transported to the gas phase and provides the condition that make ionization possible. Why the solvent or the matrix is so important? Because that is the medium by which the analyte will be transported to the gas phase, and it provides the condition that make ionization possible. And if there is contamination of the sample, say for example in the purification of the sample, the contamination could be the salt by itself, the use of salt in buffer. If it is more than 10 millimolar, then this will affect, or it will lead to reduced sensitivity. So sample purity is very important. Likewise, it is also true with respect to other characteristic agents. Could be urea, gonidinium salts, and other solvents like DMSO, glycerol. All these components are used in the process of isolation and possible purification of the sample. So these components need to be removed. And what are the methods? We have discussed in analytical biochemistry 1, that is dialysis, RPHPLC, or the ion exchange chromatography. These are some of the useful methods for purifying samples to remove contaminants. Here contaminants refer to the components that were used in the isolation as well as purification of the sample. The salts, the solvents. So these contaminants, if present, that will lead to reduced sensitivity of the MALDI mass measurement. Right? So we'll just try to understand what are the standard matrices that are used for sample preparation. Here the three structures labeled 1, 2 and 3 refer to three different standard matrices that are used for peptides and proteins exclusively. That is alpha cyano 4 hydroxycinnamic acid, 3,5-dimethoxy 4 hydroxycinnamic acid, and 2,5-dihydroxy benzoic acid. The alpha cyano 4 hydroxycinnamic acid, abbreviated as CCA. So this CCA is mainly used for peptides, glycopeptides and small proteins. The 3,5-dimethoxy 4 hydroxycinnamic acid, abbreviated as SA or synapinic acid, This is commonly used for both peptide and protein analysis. And 2,5-dihydroxybenzoic acid, abbreviated as DHB, this is used for glycopeptides, glycoproteins, small proteins and oligonucleotides which are less than 10 bases. Right? So, the CCA is used for peptides, glycopeptides and small proteins. The SA, that is the hydroxycinnamic acid, 3,5-dimethoxy-4-hydroxycinnamic acid, is used for both peptide and protein analysis. And DHB, that is dihydroxybenzoic acid, is used for glycopeptides, glycoproteins, small proteins and oligonucleotides of approximately less than 10 bases. Right? So, in the analysis of protein digests, that is, we refer that to as peptide mapping, the choice of matrix plays an important role in the observation of the peptides that are produced. Some matrices, they can complement with each other with respect to obtaining complete protein sequence coverage. Say for example, the alpha cyano 4-hydroxycinnamic acid, it can yield more of low mass peptide ions, that is less than 2500 Daltons, while 3,5-dimethoxy-4-hydroxycinnamic acid may provide better coverage for the higher mass peptides, that is more than 2500 Daltons. So, you should be knowing what should be the length of the peptide in order to choose the best matrix. So, the matrices can complement. One matrix can be used for low mass peptide ions. The other matrix can give a better coverage for higher mass peptide ions. Right? Sample matrix preparation procedure. So, this procedure greatly influences the quality of the MALDI mass spectra for the given peptides or proteins. You have the matrices, you have the analyte, but the preparation of this combination, the sample or the analyte matrix combination, the procedure involved in preparation of this combination greatly influences the MALDI mass spectra of the peptides or the proteins. Among the variety of reported preparations methods, the dried droplet method is most frequently used. So, what is done in this dried droplet method? So, it is a method for analyte matrix preparation. So, in this case, what is done is a saturated matrix solution is mixed with the analyte solution, giving a matrix to sample ratio of about 5000:1. Here 5000 refers to the matrix and the 1 component refers to the analyte. So, if you just recall what we discussed in the previous session, in molar excess of the matrix is used. So the matrix concentration is very, very high when compared to the analyte concentration. That is what we learned in the previous session. So now you can see that the matrix to sample ratio is about 5000:1. And then an aliquot of, say, for example, 0.5 to 2 microliters. This varies. It's a typical range that is given over here. So an aliquot of this mixture, that is matrix to sample mixture, it is then applied to the sample target where it is allowed to dry. So this is called as dried droplet method. This is most frequently used method, a very simple approach. Apart from this, there are three more methods. They are called as thin layer method, thick layer method, and sandwich method. In the thin layer method, a matrix homogeneous film is formed on the target first, and then the sample is applied and absorbed by the matrix. So what happens, or what is done in thin layer method? A matrix homogeneous film is formed on the target first, and the sample is then applied and absorbed by the matrix. This method, that means the thin layer method, yields good sensitivity, good resolving power, and provide accurate mass measurement. Similarly, in the thick layer method, the nitrocellulose is used as matrix additive, and once the uniform nitrocellulose matrix layer is obtained on the target, the sample is applied. This method also significantly increases the detection sensitivity, especially for the peptides and proteins extracted from gels. So you can use the proteins directly from the gels, that is the acrylamide gels. So for such peptides and proteins extracted from the gels, the thick layer method is best suited. The third one is the sandwich method. This is another variant in this category. Here a thin layer of matrix crystals is prepared, very similar to the thin layer method, followed by the subsequent addition of droplets of aqueous trifluoroacetic acid along with sample and matrix. So it's a sandwich of the sample. That means the analyte is sandwiched between the aqueous TFA and the matrix, right? So these are the methods of sample matrix combination preparation. The amino acid sequence information can be obtained by one of several methods using the MALDI-MS. So you can get the amino acid sequence informations from the MALDI-MS. So we'll try to understand how the sequence information can be obtained using the MALDI-MS. The first is called the protein mass mapping, which consists of a site-specific enzymatic or chemical degradation of a protein, and it is followed by mass spectrometric analysis of the released peptides. right? That means you take the analyte, then it is treated enzymatically, broken down into fragments, or possibly the chemical degradation of the whole protein into smaller fragments, and analysis being done using mass spectrometry of the peptides. So, owing to the complexity of mixtures generated during this proteolysis, be it enzymatic or the chemical method, because you can expect that lot many fragments or peptides could be obtained, and in such case, because of the complexity of the mixtures or the peptides that are generated during the proteolytic process, the MALDI-TOF MS is most ideally suited for such analysis. The traditional analytical methods used to characterize the peptides consist of the HPLC or gel electrophoresis, followed by N-terminal sequencing with or without amino acid analysis. N-terminal sequencing, that is Idman method. This is traditional approach. So you purify through HPLC, put it on gel, separate on based on the mass, and then you extract the sample from the gel and sequence from the N-terminal end. This traditional analytical methods are considerably more time consuming and in some cases may not be capable of separating individual peptides because of the lower resolution the traditional analytical methods offer. So you should have a robust tool to sequence the complex mixtures of peptides that are obtained after proteolysis. So consequently, high resolution MALDI-TOF analysis can provide for a more rapid, accurate and highly sensitive analysis of the complex peptide mixtures. So the purpose of protein mass mapping is not to sequence the entire protein, but instead to generate information that can be used in protein database to search for identity and to assign the function to the protein that we have sequenced. Right. So the first approach is in determining the structure function relationship of a protein. The first approach by mass spectrometer is protein mass mapping. The purpose of protein mass mapping is not to sequence the entire protein, but to generate information through several peptides and then matching the sequences with the known peptides already present in the protein databases and then assigning the functions, thus possibly identifying what the protein is or what the protein could be. So in this table you can see the important protein databases that are available on the internet for assigning or searching either the protein sequence what we have got through MALDI-TOF matches with any of the protein or peptide sequence of the databases, right? So I'll stop my discussion over here. We can continue our discussion in the next session. Thank you very much.